mesh was a bad choice. That's a little cooler than when I left. I love my mesh jacket, but it is definitely, you got to consider time of arrival and time of eventual departure. When you don't have saddlebags, on this episode of Don't Eat That, I'd like to talk to you about the time I was invited to a wedding, and it was, what's the hoity-toity? That's a thing, right? I think it means like above your pay grade, like my pay grade. Yeah, I was invited to a wedding, and there's people I did not know, and they were very rich. So it was an extravagant affair. Well, actually, there was no affair. They were getting married. So, well, just to give you an idea, their unity thingamajig, you know, you give rings and you say like, I will, and you will, and we both will, and they had wine that was her wine was specially vinted from her blah 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 like place, and his wine was specially vinted from his dad's blah 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 place, and they toasted in front of everybody at the altar with a mixed glass, you know, a blend of his special wine and her special wine. I think you had to be drinking the Kool-Aid to be there. I'm not really I don't know what was going on, but anyway, it was super fancy. You know, like, hey, like, can I get like is there a bubbler around? Like, get a drink of water? Or like, nope, the water is in these glass vessels that, you know, you could drink as many of them as you want. You could take the glass home. So that kind of place. Well, they had an oyster bar. You see where I'm going with this? So the person I was with, I said, I've never eaten an oyster, and I never will. And they said, you should. And I said, nah, it's not for me. And then it was the argument back and forth over the course of an hour or whatever. When are you ever going to get a chance to try an oyster again? You know, I'm not exactly in the oyster echelon of society, so I was like, yeah, what the heck. So I went to I'll tell you about my favorite thing first. They had these little tiny bottles of Tabasco sauce. Like, you could fit one up each nostril. Like, that's how small they were. And oof. So I cleaned house on those things. People were just giving me theirs because they didn't like Tabasco sauce. So I went home and my pockets were a-jingling. But, so I went over to the oyster bar and I grabbed an oyster and I looked at it and I considered my life. So I'm making a decision to put this in my body. And let's have at it. So I ate the thing. It was putrid, abominable. I mean, I questioned. The universe is expanding away, and it will just drift to nothingness after the taste of this thing. And the look of dismay and just utter confusion on my face was enough to alarm the people near me. And I said, yeah, I'm supposed to try an oyster. It wasn't really that good. They're like, oh, those aren't the oysters. You just ate a raw mussel. The oysters are on the other side. I was like, a raw mussel. Are you supposed to like cook those things first? And so I went around to the other side. I'm like, Rick, I'm already like half retching. Like, it's now or never, baby, because I'm never going to do this again. So I grab something in a different shell and I eat that thing. It's just as bad, raunchy, offensive as the first thing. This is disgusting. And no, so apparently that was a mussel too. So someone maybe should have said, look for the shell that looks like this, and not the shell that looks like this, because I ate 2 of the latter shell abominations, and that's it. So I beseech you, I implore you, don't eat that stuff. What are you doing? Oh, I didn't do it right, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So you don't really want to listen to my advice unless you have a weak stomach. Or maybe the lesson is, if you really don't want to do something that you don't have to do, don't do it. You don't have to do it. Somebody is putting words in the air, and their very words are trying to convince you to do something, and words cause you to do something. It's words. Words. More powerful than the little oyster prong or whatever. Yep, so that was gross. That's my you don't eat this moment of the week. Don't say I didn't warn you, folks. But in the meantime, if you get those little bottles of Tabasco, you know where I live. And hey man, I care about you. Otherwise I wouldn't warn you about these creatures of the deep. They're just there. They're just at the bottom of the sea, and you know, one of those things could wind up in a wedding someday. All right, guys, Matt the Greeter, care about you. I will talk to you soon, and maybe we'll talk about cannolis or something better. Nope. Or you could just go through the red light like that person did. But anyway, all right, guys, Matt the Greeter, care about you. I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.